other than English and Hindi, which I studied in school, and Tamil, which we speak at home, the only language I systematically learned was Russian. That is still there in my brain, even if I don't use it that much. I'll tell you the real difference that language makes, and why, if I had to live my life all over again, is one thing I would do is really take time off and study more languages. It gives you a mindset understanding, which no amount of data or descriptive analysis can actually give you. Because with the language there is a degree of culture and thought process that you imbibe. How you deal with each other. I'm giving you an example of Japanese, which I've learned due to domestic compulsions. So how your language and your etiquette are directly linked, and your etiquette then determines the effectiveness of your diplomacy. So I would be very, very encouraging of people. In fact, I would tell people who are not doing language, so I don't know how your university functions, if you can do a course or something, you may not end up as a language wizard, but I really think it's something worth it.
Thank you, sir. We have a question from the faculty members from the Department of Languages. Isn't it high time that India created its own global media channels to not only counter oftentimes biased narratives and representations of India?
It's a kind of a yes and no answer. It's yes because, the old media still makes an impact. You'd be surprised how much even today, let us say, television channels actually influence people. Newspapers too, perhaps a little less with the passage of time. So that part of me would say, yes, we should. We have actively thought about it. It's an ongoing debate among some of us. But the other part of me also says, that's like very 20th century. That there is, if you look at the social media world, for which I must tell you I'm still very much a novice, there's a very different world out there. It's a more decentralized world, it's a more contributive world, it's obviously a less disciplined world. So, and it's a world to which Indians take to, because it somehow appeals, there's a sort of, I would say, an energy effervescence there that appeals to our individualistic traits. So, I would say on balance, yes, certainly as a foreign minister, I would like to see maybe a television channel which projects us abroad. NHK does it, CCTV does it, RTL does it. The Americans have done it for many years. I don't even want to mention BBC. So
we have a question from the TAPME faculty. How are we leveraging our soft power to advance our foreign policy priorities?
In very different ways, but remember, a large part of soft power is it should not appear to be visibly state-directed and government-sponsored. The more you do that, the more you actually undermine what you are doing. But soft power, people sometimes think very literally that soft power means you set up institutions, you have to propagate your language or your culture. A lot of soft power is actually about narratives. As I said, there is a continuous competition to actually define what are the broad standards and even the metaphors and the correctness of behavior in the world. So it can have many, many facets. And I'm now giving you a very direct experience. in some other country, which I don't want to mention, somebody actually asked me this question. They said, we keep, you are a country today, you are, at that time we were, I think, sixth or seventh, I think, largest economy. So you are in the top 10 economies, you're very active in foreign policy. He said, I don't know a single Indian historical figure, contemporary figure, we read about the rest of the world. Why is it your history, your heritage, your culture, even your strategy is absent from the global discourse? So actually that is what provoked me to write that chapter about Mahabharata, because to me Mahabharata had everything which you could imagine in political science, from balance of power to deception to political correctness. I mean, there's a range of concepts out there. But the fact is we haven't, and to my mind, it will happen. I'm very confident of it. I already see, I have, in fact, I was approached recently saying, why don't we do a conference among the international relations departments of this country? How do we draw upon our, I would say, epics and historical tales to get across the right narrative? But I'm giving you in a very narrow domain. But I could take it elsewhere. I mean, to me, a fabulously successful example of soft power is actually the International Day of Yoga. That the smart thing we did about International Day of Yoga, we did not try to micromanage it. We did not try to own it. What we did was we kind of very softly connected, I would say through enthusiasm rather than in any material way, made it a common cause. Our connection was, okay, June 21, can we all do this? And you see today the impact it has had. The enthusiasts I meet, it is to me, when I go abroad, the yoga and digital delivery are probably the two most common, except cricket in the right countries, they are actually the two most common subjects of conversation.